I save any usable size. I cut squares if there's just a partial strip left. But for more variety, I might cut my strip in half, and then I would pair it up, strip piece that, and then cut it into 2-inch segments. That seems to make the process go a little faster. One way to cut strip sets if you don't have a Stripology ruler, which by now you know is my favorite way to do this, have one of the lines of the ruler align with your seam. Oops. And that's why you allow extra, because of a shifting of a ruler, you might need to straighten the edge. So I straighten that off. If you have a turntable cutting mat, that's probably ideal. And then I need 2-inch strips, 2-inch right there. So let's just go like this. Okay, 2-inch. The line is on the fabric. My strip set is a little crooked. I can see a little bit of the white under there, under my straight line. And even looking at this, it looks like it's veering up a little bit. So let's see how straight it is. See, it's starting to curve here. So what you might want to do is find where it is in line. Allow this little extra to straighten it off. Just making sure it's straight on the seam. And then straightening it this way to make sure I have a perfect piece. If you're consistent in your piecing and pressing, everything should come out fine. So, if I start with a unit like this, I have the dark on top. So the seam is pointing up towards the presser foot, and the back seam is pressed to the dark, so it's pointing away. So the presser foot should help push this seam, this piece into the seam, and it should make a perfect union. There, that's a pretty nice little seam intersection. And then just peel that back. Yep, when I'm filming I can't grab anything, I guess. And there. And if everything's consistent, when you're trying to line up this side pointing up with this side pointing down, another unit over here, it should keep nesting seams. I'm running low on some of my lights. Well, by this time I'm running low on everything. But the dark shows up a little bit, but I'm choosing to flip. Oopsie, see the difference in the dark and the light? So I'm using the wrong side so it blends in a little better. Here's one I have flipped. This I use as a dark if I have enough light, but I've also used this side. You can still see a faint pattern, so I think it still makes it interesting, so I use it either way. To lay out the block, I like to use a design board because then I just take it to the sewing machine and I see the orientation of my block, and then the white strips would form the diagonal. So I just use that as my guide. And since I'm going for a scrappy design, I just try to scatter these. Oh, now these two are alike, so I'll just switch them out. And then an extra dark would go here. Now that's a 4-patch, and I'm making a new 4-patch here and here. here's pieces and parts of my latest block that I'm sewing together. And when I was talking about consistency in sewing your pieces together, if they're always nesting and then they don't all of a sudden, you know something's wrong. So this seam is pointing down and it didn't nest with this. This seam is pointing down. So looking into it further, well, I was wondering, did I spin the seams on both? Yeah. Oh, look at this. The seam is twisted. So it is supposed to be up. If you're always consistent and feeling for that nesting, you can recognize right away if you have a problem.